Shalom, shalom, Israel. This is your brother Adanya coming with another video. Before we get started, I want to give all honor, glorification, and thanks to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh being the name of the Most High Power, Yahweh Shai being the name of the one that the world calls Jesus Christ. And before we go on, I'd like to give a hearty shalom and salutations to the elders that's been enduring, paving the way for the generations to follow, and patiently awaiting the Messiah's return. Shalom, shalom. Another hearty shalom to the mighty brothers on the highways and the circuits of the city, pushing the word throughout the four corners of the earth in order to seal the elect. Shalom, shalom to them also. Get another shalom to the brothers preparing themselves to labor by reading, praying, fasting, and forsaking the evils of this world. Shalom. And yet one more shalom to the Aqua that's honoring and reverencing their husbands, doing the necessary work to magnify their households and the ministry as well. Shalom, shalom to everybody. I wanted to talk a little bit about why it is important for us to be our brother's keeper, why it's important for us to love our brothers as we love ourselves. Because we understand, even if you're new to this truth, you understand that due to the curses in Deuteronomy, specifically there's a curse in Deuteronomy 28 and 54, that we hate each other. We just have this natural instinct, it seems, a terrible instinct to just hate one another and to commit all manner of evil towards one another. I'll bring that out in Deuteronomy 28 and 54. And it reads, "So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and towards the remnant of his children, which he shall leave." Now, as watchmen, it's our duty to exhortate and strengthen and to love one another. And in order to be a part of the truth and in order to do the work, this is one of the most important things to learn and to master as far as loving your brothers. Now, we'll jump right into it. I want to start at Jeremiah 45. We're going to prove these things through the scriptures. We're going to give examples throughout the scriptures. Excellent examples of brothers that love one another, that keep one another, that's willing to lay their lives on the line for one another. Because, as far as laboring out on the highways and hedges, most likely you're going to be laboring alongside brothers, and you're going to have to put your lives in those brothers' hands and vice versa. They will put theirs in yours. So the level of love that you have to have for one another, you've got to be at a certain level, and you have to trust each other with your lives, right? And not only while you're laboring out on the highways and hedges, but throughout your life, throughout your day, you are keeping it in your mind to address and to treat your brother with that same love and consideration that you will want in return. So we're going to start in the book of Jeremiah. I want 45 and 3, and it reads, "Thou didst say, Woe is me now, for the Lord hath added grief to my sorrow. I fainted in my sighing, and I find no rest. Thus shalt thou say unto him, The Lord said thus, Behold, that which I have built will I break down, and that which I have planted I will pluck up, even this whole land." So the point is in verse 3. And basically what we are to do is we see our brothers in these certain predicaments. You see our brothers that are dealing with things. They are low in the spirit. We must comfort our brothers. We have to be there to lift our brothers up, whether it's calling them, even if you got to ride down on brothers just to check on them, make sure they are right. Jump on a fast with brothers. Let them know that you care about them and what they're going through, and that you can relate, you can identify, and you're there to help them out of whatever. Because at the end, we are all we have. We don't have any other support. This is a support system amongst us. So we have to be able to come and counsel one another and comfort one another in our times of need. I want to go next to the book of Matthew 11, chapter 11. This is the book of St. Matthew, chapter 11 and verse 12. Salakia, verse 1 through 3. And it came to pass, when Yahushua had made an end of commanding his 12 disciples, he departed thence to teach and to preach in their cities. Now, when John had heard in the prison the works of Yahushua, he sent 2 of his disciples, and said unto him, Art thou he that should come, or do we look for another? Yahushua answered and said unto them, Go and shew John again those things which ye do hear and see. So Yahushua is comforting John the Baptist, right? He's giving him comfort. That's just a good example of how we treat each other, of how we comfort each other in our times of need. John was in prison. You don't get much worse than having your freedom taken away from you in that way. If you have brothers that are, currently they're incarcerated, they're dealing with the system, then you understand. Or brothers who have been in that particular situation before. Just hearing from a brother from the outside could make your entire day. Just them letting you know that you love and you care about them would make you feel so good on the inside, where even help you feel as if you can make it. You can go on, you can make it another day. It means the world. Let's go to 2nd Ezra 12. We'll read 5 through 8. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 12, verses 5 through 8. Lo, yet am I weary in my mind, and very weak in my spirit, and little strength is there in me, for the great fear wherewith I was affrighted this night. Therefore will I now beseech the highest, that he will comfort me unto the end. And I said, Lord, that bearest rule, if I have found grace before thy sight, and if I am justified with thee before many others, and if my prayer indeed be come up before thy face, comfort me then, and shew me thy servant the interpretation and plain difference of this fearful vision, that thou mayest perfectly comfort my soul. Right? So we help each other. When brothers get weak, we all get weak. I know I do. I get weak. And my brothers have been there for me to lift me up. I know brothers get weak. I know that we all deal with things in this world that they weigh on your spirit, they weigh you down. And that's part of that's what they do. That's the job of these different spirits, is to weigh you down. That's why it's important for us as brothers to lift each other up in our time of need. I had brothers come through for me, actually, take time out of their day to come right down on me, check on me, make sure I was all right, just to give me a hug, man. Just to let me know that they loved and cared about me when I was low in the spirit, when I felt like I couldn't go on any further. You know how important that is? That will give you the strength of spirit to go on, to carry on. And that's the only thing that's going to keep us from falling away. We can fall away. So we have to be there to comfort one another. We have to be there to love one another. Whatever you need, whatever brothers need, I've got to go out my way to make sure I get it for them. I do it for them. Not worrying about how it might inconvenience me. Don't worry about those things, right? And don't do it looking for a reward either. Do it because you love your brother. Do it because of the mighty men that you know that they are, and the mighty works that you have seen them do, that you want to encourage them and strengthen them and push them, right? Which is a beautiful thing in its truth, and it's a beautiful thing to be a part of. Let's move on. I want to go to Sirach. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 11. Right, because and pretty much that's what we're talking about. That's what I'm going into. Why it's important to help one another. Don't leave your brother in a lurch. Be there to lift your brother up. It can make a world of difference. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 11 and verse 12. Again, there is another that is slow and hath need of help, wanting ability and full of poverty. Yet the eye of the Lord looked upon him for good and set him up from his low estate. Brothers might be low. They might be down and out, right? This is what I'm continuously reiterating. I want to drive this point forward, that we must help each other. The Lord is looking as he's not, don't believe for 1 second that he's looking down on these men because they are in a low estate. He's looking upon them for good, right? Be that man. Be that instrument that the Most High uses to help that brother that's in a low estate. Let's keep going. I want to go to the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 16. Like, being part of this ministry has saved my life. Having brothers that I can lean on and depend on has saved my life. And I'm thankful to Yahweh every day for these brothers. So I pray, just as you should, pray for your brothers each and every day, that the Lord continues to help them grow, to strengthen them, to remove evil and wicked spirits from them, and that he might strengthen you so that you can be there for them. This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 16 and verse 18. For they have refreshed my spirit and yours. Therefore acknowledge ye them that are such. We refresh each other's spirit. Acknowledge those that have done it for you, right? I was just saying how brothers have come through and refreshed me. I have to acknowledge those mighty brothers for doing that for me, right? I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning. Genesis chapter 14. This is the book of Genesis chapter 14 and verse 13. So like you bear with me. And it reads, and there came one that had escaped and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Aner, and these were confederate with Abram. And when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his trained servants, born in his own house, 318, and pursued them unto Dan, meaning be there for your brother through whatever. Be there for each other through whatever it is. Abraham, mighty Abraham, when he heard these things had befallen his people, had befallen his brother, who was who? It says, I read it again. And there came one that had escaped and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Aner, and these were confederate with Abram. And when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, that was Lot, Abram's nephew, right? But Abram addressed him and looked to him as a brother. And that's the same way we ought to be. If anything befalls your brother, be there for them through it all. Be there for them through whatever. Abram took his servants and he armed them, and they went and they did that. And they got his brother back, and they brought him back home. How many can say that they will actually do that for their brother if, need be? That they will put themselves on the line. I myself, I got to be willing to be, if I am in that situation, I got to be there for my brother. I got to go get him. You should have that same heart and that same spirit as long as it's in righteousness. You should have that same heart in you. I want to go to 2 Timothy. Going to 2 Timothy chapter 2. This is the book of 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 24. And it reads, and the servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient, and meekness, instructing those that oppose themselves, if Yahweh peradventure will give them repentance to the acknowledging of the truth. Right? So some have been taken captive. Satan has taken some of us captive. And just like we just talked about in Genesis 14 with Abram and his nephew Lot, we have to be there to rescue our brothers, to save them from that captivity. Because Satan sometimes, he has a stronghold over the minds of some of our brothers. So we got to be there to liberate our brothers, right? Let's go to 1 Peter next. I want to go to 1 Peter chapter 2. This is the book of 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 17. Honor all men. Love the brotherhood. Fear Yahweh. Honor the king. That's heavy right there, and that's pretty much the basis of what we do. This is the meat of everything that you need to know. Love the brotherhood. Love your brothers and fear Yahweh. That's your whole duty, right? Let's get that real quick. Sidebar. In Ecclesiastes 12. Because what's the basis? The basis of what we are commanded to do is to fear the Lord and keep the commandments, right? Let me get that real quick. Papa Kashab, bear with me. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahweh and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. And what was one of those commandments? We're going to go all the way back to Leviticus 19. And verse 17. And it reads, Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor, and not suffer sin upon him. All right? So we are commanded to love our brothers. We are commanded to love the brotherhood. We are commanded to fear Yahweh and to keep his commandments, right? Let's carry on in 1 Peter and go to chapter 3. Okay, this is the book of 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 8. Finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassion one of another. Love as brethren. Be pitiful. Be courteous. So we all should be of one mind. We all should be compassionate one to another. There should not be any instances where a brother is harboring hatred in his heart towards another brother for whatever reason. Being a part of this ministry, being in the camp, laboring alongside with these brothers, you want to die next to, you know what I'm saying? Do what I want to give my life or die next to a brother that hates me? That's not what I'm looking forward to, right? And vice versa. What I want that brother, if I'm harboring or having hatred in my heart towards another brother, what's the point of me even going out to labor alongside them, knowing that I'm putting my life on the line? What's the point? You have to be real with yourself. You have to come to terms with yourself. We all need to be of one mind. We all need to be on one accord. We all need to be compassionate towards one another, to love each other, to be pitiful and courteous to one another, right? So that was just a quick exhortation on why it's important to be your brother's keeper and to love your brother in all times, because we lay our lives on the line for one another, right? And with that, I'm going to give a Kwam Yasharallah. Shalom.